introduction. I'm going to do this every day. That would make my day. My name is Amy Ragsdale. I'm the director of Headwaters Dance Company. And before we start, what I would really like is to give a hand to your teachers. We're very grateful that they are curious and enterprising enough to get you here, and to think that this is something that you might be interested in seeing. So we're delighted that you're here. Before I tell you more about Headwaters, I'd like to know a little bit about you guys. How many of you, I know everybody dances, right? One way or another? Yeah. I know some of you are probably also actually sort of formally studying dance of some kind. I know some of you have it in school, right, through the MODE program. How many of you are studying dance in school through the MODE program? You have a teacher coming in. So who is that up there? Hellgate. Yes? What about C.S. Porter? Do you guys have somebody coming in? No? I think you have sometimes. Would you please raise your hand if you're studying dance? It might be ballet, jazz, hip-hop, tango. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Headwaters is. Headwaters is what's called a modern, or some people now like to call it contemporary, dance company. And modern dance was actually a style of dance that started here in the United States. I feel like it's a very specifically American kind of dance because it's all about the individual, and I think that's a really important value in the United States. So a little more than 100 years ago, there was a group of kind of feisty women, and they decided that they wanted to create their own kind of dance. It was in rebellion against ballet, really, because ballet was a form of dance that had started several hundred years earlier in the courts in France. And because it had started several hundred years earlier, they had developed a very specific vocabulary. So you can say, this is a tendu, this is a jeté, this is a glissade. That would be a pirouette if I actually turned, right? They all have names. And these women said, you know what? We don't want to do your steps. We want to do our steps. We're going to make up our own movement because we want to make up movement that interests us and that also expresses what we're feeling, what we're thinking. So as a result, this tradition has continued on. And often as a result, it's kind of hard for people to define what is modern dance anyway, because it changes a lot depending on who the choreographer is. So sometimes it's very upright, sometimes it's totally upside down, sometimes it's on the floor, okay? So we are a modern dance company, and we're a repertory company, which means that we perform the works by lots of different choreographers. Some of it's by me, always made in conjunction with the dancers, who have huge input into what I make. But we also bring in choreographers from all over the place, and you're going to get to see a couple of them today, and I'll introduce them in a minute. So, to start, I'd like to introduce you to the dancers. You can repeat after me if you want. Here's Brian. There he is. All right. And here is Faith. And here is Colin. And here is Michael. Aha. And here's Molly. Molly is my daughter. And Molly goes to Hellgate High School. And here is Kitty. And the last person I'm going to introduce actually has come here all the way from Reykjavik, I'm probably not saying that correctly, in Iceland. And her name is Steinunn. All right. Yeah, you can give them a hand. Okay. They're going to continue to warm up for a little bit. What we'd like to start out with today is talking a little bit about how choreographers, the people who make dances. What kinds of things do they think about? So, one of the things that choreographers think about, just like painters, they say, I have a blank canvas here, the stage, and I need to make a mark on the canvas. Instead of using a pencil or paint, or they use a dancer. It's really cool, actually. It's like having a live painting. And you can morph one painting into another, a whole series of images. So they think a lot about the space and where to put the dancers in the space. And we've developed a vocabulary so that choreographers can communicate with dancers. And so they, for example, say, dancers, could you all go upstage? And it's up. Why is it up? Anybody know? There's somebody up there.
It's up because the old theaters used to have, there used to be a ramp, straight stage, so it would go up.
That's exactly right. It was literally up. Because the audience used to be on the flat, and the stage was slanted. Can you imagine dancing on a slanted stage? It's very wild. I've done this in Philadelphia. And you go falling downstage. Okay, and downstage is where you might think it would be. Stage right. So what's weird about that? Right here in the red.
It's there, right?
Correct. It's from the dancer performer's point of view. Stage left. And then you can arrange them in all kinds of other ways. You could arrange them in kind of geometric formations. So you could say, I'd like you to make a straight line from upstage right to downstage left. You could say, I'd like you to make a circle upstage, a little small, tight one. Okay. You could say, I'd like you to make 3 lines on the quarter marks and the center mark going from downstage to upstage. Oh, they're good. They're figuring it out. Oh, they're awesome. Look at that. They put 3 in the middle and 2 on the side. See, already they're figuring it out compositionally, right? Okay. You could say, I want it to sort of be a little more organic. I want you to make 2 clumps, one stage right, one stage left. You can decide where they are. So now they're beginning to manipulate other things like shape, right? And level. I'd like you to make a clump with 3 dancers and everyone else disperse evenly in the space. The clump can be anywhere you want. Okay, great. All right, and then you can start to manipulate the space in other ways. Like you could say, so we have 7 dancers here. I'd like to have 2 dancers downstage, 1 dancer upstage, and everyone else leave. Okay, there we go. 2, 1, and everyone else leave. Great. That's the math part. And then you could say, I'd like to have everyone who's on stage leave and 1 person who's off stage come on and do a solo. Go stand. Okay. So there's another element. I'm going to let her keep going. There's another element that we talk about a lot, and that's time. And that could mean a lot of different things. That could mean tempo, that could mean rhythm, that could mean duration of a particular activity. In this case, we're going to talk about tempo. So Steinun's going to move very slowly. Have you guys ever tried moving in really slow-mo? It's hard, actually. All right. And then everyone else is going to come on really fast. And they're going to choose their own tempo. So they could choose to move really slowly, really quickly, or at what we would consider sort of an average normal pace. So you get kind of an interesting thing going on here. Now we have sort of an interesting contrast in tempo, right? So that's one way to think about time. Another element we think a lot about is quality of movement, and we often use sort of adjectives that we all know or adverbs that we all know. Things like they could have a floating quality. So we talk about this, it's very light. In terms of weight, it's very light. What else? How about tempo? Slow, fast, medium? Pretty slow, generally. Yeah. We could do something that's really heavy in weight. Let's do something that's really heavy and fast. And really heavy and slow. So the weight and the time really affect the quality, right? You could also think about it this way. This is sort of partly quality and shape. Let's move in a really sharp way. Let's move in a smooth way. Like butter. Yeah, so you can manipulate that kind of thing a lot. Qualities a lot. We're going to try this now. Dancers, thank you. You can take a break. In fact, we're going to try an improvisation, a little short, minute-and-a-half improvisation. And we're going to put on a piece of music. I'm going to ask the dancers to choose where they want to begin. You could be on or off. And I'm going to direct it as it goes. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the picture, just like a painter, and saying, okay, what does this need? Oh, it needs a little red right in the middle. Or I need to make a frame. Okay? So, thank you, Brian. I think Stan appreciates that. Okay, so we're going to start. Torg, do you have that first piece of music? So Stanen and Brian can begin when they feel ready. So I actually think they're choosing some really interesting qualities, and they're using the space in a very clear way. Colin, could you come into the center? And once you get there, stay in place, moving very slowly. Could everyone else come in and join Stanen in a run around? Now, could everyone continue in the circle around very slowly, and Colin is just going to begin to jump in a way that's really dynamic. I'd like Brian to join the circle on the outside. Everyone but Faith is going to run off. And Faith is going to figure out how she wants this dance to end. Okay, thank you. Okay, so what we'd like to do now is we're going to try another improvisation, maybe a little longer, 2.5 minutes maybe, and with a different piece of music. And this time, we'd like to ask for 4 volunteers from the audience to come and be the choreographers, and you're going to direct them up here on this mic, okay? So, who do we have? Anybody up there? Okay, come on down. Can I have you in black? Is that Cassidy? Can I have you over by the wall? watched all the way from the balcony. Awesome. Oh, no, wait. Okay. Okay, that's great. We have 5. Awesome. Cassidy's going to hold down the female line here. Okay. All right. So you guys, I'm going to have a little confab with them. First, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Ethan. Sentinel.
Hi, my name is Nathan. I'm from Missoula, and I go to CS Porter.
Hi, I'm Cassidy, and I'm from Sussex. I'm Cheyenne, and I'm from Sentinel.
My name's Michael, and I'm from Hellgate High School.
So, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually put this mic up on the stand, or maybe it's easier to pass it. Why don't you come group around a little bit? So, what you're going to do is be turned around, and you're going to be watching the picture as it develops. And one of the tricky things is to be sensitive to letting an idea develop, right? So if you cut in a lot, it's like ideas don't really have a chance to develop, okay? So you want to be sensitive to that. And then saying, okay, I think I'm done with this picture. I want it to shift some other way. And then you can give them a direction that has to do with time or space or quality. If you happen to remember their names, that's great. You can call people out by name. If not, you can describe what they're wearing, maybe. Okay? If you want to be specific that way. So, and then you can just chime in whenever you feel like you're ready to chime in. Okay? Just ask for the mic. We'll put the mic up here. You can come over. So we're going to start out telling the dancers where we want them to start.
Can I have 3 dancers, please? Thank you. Iceland, I forget your name. To the front of the stage, please. And can the other 2 get directly behind her in a triangle formation? Yeah, just like that. Okay. Anyone else want to jump in? Add in?
That's okay. I think this is a good place to start. Torque, do you have that second piece of music? Sure. Here we go.
Move very slowly.
Now move real fast.
Slowly separate away from each other. And can the rest of the dancers please come on stage?
Everyone run in place and start dancing.
Move robotically.
Two dancers come downstage.
Now act like a chicken. Act like a chicken.
I think like a chicken.
using negative space, dancer chickens. Try and convince the others to dance just like you.
Now stand on your hands.
Freeze in a small circle formation.
And this will bring the dance to a close. Thank you, Torg. All right. Take a bow. Thank you to our choreographers. You can take your seats. That was really fun. Okay. There were some really interesting directions there. And you can see in terms of directions, you can use imagery like that, right? Like chickens. I mean, that encompasses a whole lot of things, shape and quality and time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to show you, we're going to perform for you a few of the dances that we're performing in our concert this weekend and tonight. We're going to start out with just an excerpt of a longer piece. The piece is called Crazy in Love with Mr. Perfect. And it was choreographed by Brian Gerke and Steinen, Ketel's daughter. So they're going to be showing you actually the very ending, okay? And then one thing I'd like you to think about as you're watching it is what the movement quality seems to be, and also what kind of feeling it produces in you. Okay, I'm kind of interested to hear what kind of feeling it produces in you, okay? And I'm going to come out and ask you that afterward. All right, looks to me like maybe the dancers are ready. Okay.
Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. C'est payé. Allumer le feu, mes chagrins, mes plaisirs, je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours, je repars à zéro. Non. Rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien, car ma vie, car mes joies,
They're beautiful dancers, aren't they? We're really privileged to have them here. So, what kind of feeling do you feel that dance has? Any thoughts? Yeah, right here. Love. That's interesting. Yeah, I could have that feeling. Yeah. Gravity? Happy. So what would make it seem happy? What is it about the movement that makes it seem happy? Graciously. That's a wonderful word. That's true. They move in a big, expansive way, right? I'm attached to this cord. Yeah, exactly. Any others? Any other thoughts? Back here.
Sadness.
Sadness. And what gives you that feeling? What is it about what you saw or maybe heard?
The music
The
music could have been like sad.
So there's something sad to you about the sound. Could well be. Anybody else? Okay, one more. Yeah.
They seem so energetic, like they just ate cheese.
They just ate cheese. That makes you energetic. All right. So we have energetic, happy. There's something a little bit sad about the music. So it's kind of complex, actually. One more. You guys, I'm going to need you to be really quiet so I can hear him. Yeah?
We know for one thing they're expressing their feelings.
You get that feeling that they are expressing something. It's expressive. That's totally right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the next piece. The next piece is titled The Inner Me Meets the Outer You. I choreographed this in conjunction with the dancers. And one of the elements that we thought about a lot in making the dance was the use of time. So I'm really curious to see what you think about how the time was used and how that helps to sort of explain the situation or tell a story.
Maybe we...
Yeah, I kind of...
I guess I was thinking...
I mean, I didn't mean to...
Well, gosh, why was I ever...
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's sort of...
Could we...
I don't...
This was a little...
Well... I don't know. I mean, maybe. It's...
Did you think that?
Yeah. I mean... well, yeah, I mean, yeah, sort of, I mean, kind of, I mean, well, I don't know, it's a little bit,
olvidado los errores del pasado corazón. Y la tía rama seca como late la muñeca mi reloj. Y gritábamos unidos lo terrible del olvido sin razón. Con la muda voz del yeso sin la gracia de otro beso ni la suerte de otro error. Y anduvimos sin aurora suicidado, pero ahora por milagro regresó y otra vez.
So, what about the use of time? What was happening there in terms of tempo, would you say? Yes? Yep.
It got fast and then it slowed down and it kind of kept that, and then sometimes it'd kind of just be like normal.
So there was a lot of use of different tempos. Sometimes fast, sometimes slowed down, yeah. Anybody else? What about the beginning? Yes? Blonde, yeah?
But really slow, like it took 2 minutes to start.
Took like 2 minutes to start. You must have been looking at your watch. Yeah. So what was the effect of that time? What happened in the beginning? Why do you think we chose to make it so slow? Any thoughts about that? Over here. Suspense. Oh, that's good. Did it create suspense? That's great. Anybody up there? What was the feeling that you got in the beginning? Here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like weird and kind of boring, and then it got like really fun.
Weird and boring and humorous. There you go. That's great. Yeah. Here. Anxious to see what would happen. So that's the same sense of suspense. Yeah. Over here, red. Curious about what would happen next. Yep. Wait, who have I got? In blue, yes. Awkward. No kidding. Totally awkward, right? I don't know if you've ever felt that way, meeting somebody new, but it can be really awkward. And it can be really hard to know how to start, right? Okay, we're going to go on to the next piece. The next piece is called, And Then They're 18. It's a piece that I'm performing with my daughter, Molly. Here we go. love this gesture. What would you say the story was in that piece? Any thoughts? Yeah.
So the story was the fact of a mother and her daughter and how they can't exactly see eye to eye at first and how they're just trying and how there's like struggles in life, but in the end they will always turn out better, and how when she turns 18, when you let her go, she'll always come back, but then she'll always leave, and it's just the relationship between a mother and daughter and that strong bond.
Wow, thank you. That was really articulate. It's going to make me cry. Yeah, that's great. That just about covered it, actually. So, what is it about? I made some very specific choices about the use of space, actually. Did you see that at all? What was happening in this space? Is somebody back here? No? Yes. Can you be a little more specific? It's definitely using the space. Yes, back here.
They started close together, but then they started to spread out.
Yes, that's exactly it. So, which for me sort of mirrors what happens with a child, right? At first they're close to you, they don't go very far from home. And then eventually they can move further and further out until they take up the space on their own, right? So for me, space was really important in kind of expressing that message. Okay, we have one more piece for you. This is simply called the Grand Waltz. And I think you'll recognize all kinds of steps in it. This is based, as modern dance often does, because we get to pick and choose whatever movement we want. We choose from lots of different places, and in this case, we're using a lot of social dance movements. After this, we're just going to come sit down, and it'll be a chance for you to give us some feedback about the pieces, ask any questions that you have about the pieces, about the dancers. Okay, here we go.
baby. The thrill is gone away. You know you done me wrong, baby, and you'll be sorry someday. The thrill is gone. It's gone away from me. The thrill is gone, baby. The thrill is gone away from me. Although I'll still live on, but so lonely I'll be.
So we would be, of course, we're always very curious to know what you think different pieces are about, how they affect you, why you think they affect you that way. And we're also here to ask questions if you're curious about these dancers and their, oof, isn't that kind of a pretty row, I have to say. I'm curious about these dancers, and a handsome row. Curious about these dancers and their backgrounds and where they're from and stuff like that. Anybody have any questions? Don't let me forget up there. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
In the last scene, did the girl that came in late, did she think it was a different kind of party, or did she know that it was?
That's a great question. You want to answer that?
I did. I think I didn't know how to dress. And so that's when I was embarrassed that I acted the wrong way. So I had to change.
Yeah. Has that ever happened to you? Do you feel like you're way overdressed or way underdressed or just have the wrong style? Yeah. Good question. Any other questions? Any feedback? Up there.
I just want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed the grunge party and the ball gowns and that. I thought that was really a wonderful contrast of costume and mood.
Great. Great. Yeah, it's a funny thing to drag along on the floor in a big ball gown. Yeah.
Do you have the women all dressed up in their formal dress, but the guys are in t-shirts that look like tuxedos? Why was that decision made?
Well, to me initially, I was thinking that this dance would be a little bit of a kind of a cartoon version of these social dances and these situations. And so this represents kind of the cartoon version of a tux. Yeah. One of the things, we would never claim to be experts in the Viennese waltz. In fact, we've worked really hard, actually, to learn to do the Viennese waltz or the tango. I mean, these are incredible dance styles that take a lot of skill, and they're real. People do them beautifully. What we've done as modern dancers is sort of take a little bit of it and then added our own flair. And so you can see in each of the variations of the waltz, there were different variations which actually are a little bit of jitterbug and a little bit of all thrown in there. Who's the best dancer? Ooh, this is like Dancing of the Stars. Well, Michael, that is such a technical answer. I think I'm incredibly lucky to have really highly trained, beautiful dancers who are willing to come here and dance in Missoula, who are from Missoula, many of them.
Who's the worst dancer?
I'm not going to answer that question. You can keep that opinion yourself if you have one. Yeah.
Are each team different, or are they put together and just kind of like a big piece?
Are you talking about this last piece?
No, like are each dance team from a different like part of the dance, like a full dance, and cut into other pieces together?
Or are they from a bigger piece?
In terms of the 4 pieces that we showed you this afternoon, only one of them is actually an excerpt. The first one you saw that Brian and Stanen performed is actually the end of a piece that's 40 minutes, and which really you should come and see. It's a really interesting piece because maybe Brian and Stanen want to talk a little bit about dance theater and what's sort of happening in Europe in that way, because that piece really has a lot of different aspects to it. We showed you a very dancey part of it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so in the piece, which is 40 minutes, and it's called Crazy in Love with Mr. Perfect, there's a lot of text also in it, text and movement.
Text meaning talking.
Like talking.
They're actually talking.
So we talk on stage, and there's sort of a story that's, it's not linear, but there's a story inside the whole piece about this couple, and what else do you know? And we play with text and dance a lot in all of our work.
It's a form that's not really been often called dance theater. It happens a lot in Europe and some in the United States for sure too. Is there a question back here? Yeah. Do they get to choreograph? It depends, you know, it depends a lot on the choreographer. In my case, I'm hugely reliant on the dancer's own movement inclinations and imaginations. And so now any dance that I make, really the movement comes a lot from the dancers, and sometimes also ideas about where the theme is going. I usually start out with an idea. Often it ends up way over there. Yeah. Do you have an answer to that? Dancers choreographing? A lot of these dancers choreograph. I think almost all of these dancers choreograph in their own right. Is there a question over here? No.
Right in front of you.
Yeah.
What was the point of the one where the 2 people were sitting in the lawn chairs with the tables that I stood in front of it?
Anyone want to give that a shot? What do you think that story was about with Colin and Faith in the lawn chairs? Meeting new people? For sure. Any other ideas?
Balcony?
Balcony, thank you very much.
They're over here.
Yes.
It seems to me like a really good example of how everyday situations become, in the most literal sense, extraordinary, like how GK kind of just went from anxious and kind of mundane to really, really out there, and it was something that you never kind of normal.
That's a great interpretation, and that absolutely is what we thought about. Is this idea that you start with something that's ordinary behavior, and then in some ways it morphs into something that we would call absurdist. And you could interpret that in a lot of different ways, that that's what's actually kind of going in their minds, even though it's not actually happening. Yeah. Anyone else up there? Yes.
It reminded me of the beginning of a new relationship, like a new friendship that slowly turns into, going on a couple weird, awkward dates, and hopefully a relationship.
And then, right, so they end up in a different place than they started. And one thought that I had in the beginning about it, and I'm not sure ultimately that the dance ended up there so much, but was that idea that you can meet a person and maybe initially they don't really seem like your type, but that as you get to know them better, you begin to realize that there are things that you really like about them. And then you're compatible in ways that you didn't realize. Yeah.
I have a question for the lady from Iceland. What inspired you to come out to Missoula to dance? Was it dancing or what was it?
I actually met this guy, Brian, on the end when we were both studying in New York. And then we became friends and we started working together. And then It's a long story, but basically he ended up coming to Iceland to perform and also got a job teaching. And our work, this work that we're showing, that you saw a little clip of, we premiered that, and that sort of became like successful and started touring around Europe. And then we made another piece that also started touring, and it's sort of been just the ball started rolling. So he's actually living in Iceland, and now I'm here for the first time in his home city and dancing with all these people.
I think maybe we'll go down the line here. Here, you've been holding your question.
How do you decide who's in what dance?
Good question.
Oh, casting. How do you decide who's in what dance? It's a really good question. We're a repertory company, which means that we do two different things. We sometimes have, I look around for dances that have already been made and say, I would like to buy this dance. And I can buy them for anything from $500 to $3,000, say. And then usually what happens is they send us a video, and I've already seen it. And at that point, I start to think about who among my dancers would be good in that piece. So maybe they have comedic ability. Maybe they're good with their voice and they need to talk. Maybe there's a certain kind of movement that they need to be able to do. Maybe they need to be able to partner really well. And so I end up choosing dancers that way. The second thing we do is we create pieces, and we either create them ourselves or we bring a choreographer in to make them. That's called commissioning a piece. And that's worked a lot of different ways. Sometimes actually mostly I say, okay, these are the dancers you have to work with, and the choreographer comes in and works with those dancers. Sometimes we say, well, I really need another duet in this concert, and so I'm going to choose two dancers who I think will look good in that choreographer's style. Does that cover it? More or less, yeah. That's a good question, yeah. When's the autograph session? Do you have your pens? We're ready if you have a pen. How do you like Missoula? How do you like Missoula?
I love Missoula. I'm going to come back.
Yay! We'll be back. Yeah.
Why did you want to become a dancer?
Do you want to ask each of us?
Oh, you.
Me? Oh, that's a really good question. Sometimes I think things kind of choose you. But I had a mother who was a dancer. And so she, I think, you know, I actually started really late with formal training. I started as a junior in high school. And then I got sort of disillusioned and I went to a college that didn't have any dance. But what happened when I was in college was I found myself trying to figure out how to dance, even though I was in a place that didn't have any dance. So I choreographed a lot of musicals. And then I started taking dance classes in a studio in the town. And I just found it was something that fills me up in a way that makes me happy and elated. So I think things find you.
Which dance is the hardest for?
Of these four?
Yeah.
What do you think?
The waltz.
The waltz? Why would that be, Colin?
Complicated steps.
Complicated steps. And also the steps are very similar. So sometimes it's harder to remember steps that are really similar but slightly varied. Any other answers? We're in agreement.
Yeah.
Okay.
How old was your daughter when you started teaching her dance?
You know, I have actually almost never taught her to dance. She has been studying. You can answer.
I started creative movement at the university when I was 3, and then I started training at Ballet Arts Academy when I was 6 with, my mom's colleague. So she's always been my dance teacher.
Yeah. There's one up here. Yeah.
Where did you get these dresses?
Where do we get these dresses? There is a great store in town called Carlos's One Night Stand. They're rented. Maybe we'll auction them off after the performance. Anyone else up there? Straight back. Sweatshirt, white, red, yep.
Where do you get the tuxedo shirts?
You go to tuxtshirts.com. You can be here in 3 days. We have about 4 more minutes. Yes?
Why do you guys all want to dance?
Why don't we go down the line? Can we start with you, John?
Sure.
Why do we want to dance?
I started dancing really late too when I was 18. And I started dancing because I wanted to go on tour with like Janet Jackson and be like a backup dancer. And then that kind of ended up changing. I came to the university, and now I think it's just gotten to the point where it's my job, and I like my job, and I just dance because I don't know what else to do, you know?
And he's really good at it. You know?
Yeah. I also started really late. I started when I was 23 in college. I was actually going in to be a biology with an emphasis in zoology major, and I found that kind of boring. I love science still, but it was a little boring for me, and I was taking dance classes and stuff and just loved it, and acting, and yeah, I just loved doing it. I love being on stage. I love the process.
Yeah, I guess it's similar for me. I started training when I was about 15, and then I went to ballet school in Canada, and then I got kind of burned out with ballet, classical ballet, like Amy was talking about the feisty women, modern dance, and I kind of just found myself being bored with ballet, so I started being more interested in modern and contemporary styles, and then I went to the University of Montana, and yeah, I think it's like I want it to be my profession, and I just really love it. It's the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah. You've already heard my answer, but I know Brian said something once which really holds true for me, which is that I feel like it combines your mind and your body in a really interesting way. And I think if you improvise, for example, if you come to the performance tonight, you'll see Brian and Kitty improvising. You know, you have to make really interesting choices all the time when you're improvising, and when you're a choreographer, you also have really interesting choices. And it's also a way for me to express things that I care about, and that's important to me.
It's a very tricky question, but I'm going to try to answer it as best as I can. I did gymnastics when I was young, and then I was doing a little bit of like hip hop and African dance and jazz, and then I started my formal training when I was 25. Why do I dance? I don't know. I don't know. Cinderella dress. And I get to wear a Cinderella dress.
All right, I started ballet at the age of 7 and grew up thinking that I wanted to be ballerina. But then when I got to university, I started doing modern dance. And for me, I realized that dance form just felt better on my body. It also, for me, I liked the fact that it analyzes life, social things, relationships, a bunch of different things that have meaning and purpose to me. And I actually also studied math when I was at university, and have done some research with math science things. So I have this other interest in a very academic field. However, dance has always just been where my passion lies, and where I feel like my identity is truly as a dancer. So.
And for those of you who are from Sussex School, Faith is a Sussex School grad. Okay, going on.
When I was in like 3rd grade, I found this record in my mom's record collection that was Cyndi Lauper. I don't know if you guys know who Cyndi Lauper is, but she was like really, really cool and has really great like newspaper dress on the cover. And I would come home from school every day and put that record on and dance in my living room for like an hour. for 2 hours, like the same songs over and over. I see your true color shining through, you know, like again and again. And then I quit dancing because I wanted to be a punk rocker instead, and then I started up again when I was in college, and it makes me really happy. And I actually showed up to this process really late. I flew in from Utah, where I'm going to school right now, on Friday, so I like missed most of the rehearsals, actually, and didn't know the steps. And so when you see our last grand waltz dance, the reason that I don't have a partner and that I'm doing all the wrong things, it seems like, is because I actually don't know the dance, and I'm making it up as I go along. And so when I get to like finally dance to the blues song and everybody else is like being dragged across the floor, like that is still like me as a second grader in my living room with the Cyndi Lauper record, just like working it out. So still a part of me. Let me see. I don't know, as Billy Elliot once said, it feels like electricity. I started dancing. I think I started dancing because my friend Cora in the 2nd grade was dancing. And so I asked my mom if I could be put in ballet. She never, and so I was put in ballet, and I think I love to dance, but I fell in love with performing. And so that's what's been keeping me going all these years.
All right, I think, unfortunately, we're at the end of our time. If you have a burning question, you can run down and ask us, if that's okay with your teachers. But thank you for being a great audience.
Dancers come downstage.